Cool.
The Spider-Man ethos.
With great power comes great responsibility.
And we didn't prep that, just, Malcolm's a fellow nerd.
Yeah.
So something I tell people all the time in recent years, you can't pretend to talk about and to teach others how bad guys operate in order to avoid it without yourself dialing into and figuring out that codex and those skills.
Yeah.
That becomes a form of code switching.
Yeah.
We run into moralistic gateways in our own mind. Many years ago, I had a group of team members, my staff, and I gave them all the book, The Like Switch, which is an FBI investigator talking about body language and how to make people like you more, basically, right? How to interact with other humans.
Yeah.
One of the moms looked at it and goes, "Are you teaching my daughter how to manipulate other people?" And I said, all human interaction is some variation of manipulation with other humans. I'm teaching her what it looks like and what the alphabet is for it. For you, because you've played in a lot of different worlds, you've worked in a lot of different worlds, you've lived in a lot of different worlds. How do you run up against that moral barrier? You have the skills, you're aware of it. I personally have a thing with this where I make certain I walk out with other people so we have mutually agreed upon play, and I'm not just talking about here, I'm talking about in my other, my personal life and stuff.
Yeah.
We're all bought in.
Yeah.
Is really important for me because I know that I know how that operates if you want to be a manipulative bastard.
Yeah.
So on purpose, I intentionally try to lock and gate that up.
Yeah.
How have you played with that, or how have you run up against that?
That's a good question.
We didn't talk about this stuff ahead of time, so.
No. It's a good one because if you don't have it walked out and you need to prep in order to walk it out, you probably need to really consider why you're teaching people to use tools that you haven't thought about the safe use of yourself.
It's easy on the physical level.
Yeah, the physical level is straightforward.
Right? Guys, I'm teaching you how to hurt people. Here's why.
Yeah.
Here's when you get to use it. It's not binary, but it's pretty sequential.
Yeah. Versus this kind of gray area. It's almost like, weirdly, it's almost like the Force, right? It's the same thing. It's just dark side, light side, right?
Before or after the metachlorians?
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Episode 1 doesn't count. Everything after that
this
doesn't
never happened.
This never happened. You never saw those droids. But the thing that makes the biggest difference for me is keeping a ruthless internal barometer for what is acceptable and constantly evaluating, and then having your clear, ideally at least to some degree, externalized representations of what that means. So for me, for people it varies. Some people have, their code. There are people who legit have written out like who they want to be. For me, it's a faith thing. So for me, faith is my external barometer, and it is how I evaluate. And I have a group of people around me who will tell me when I start stepping on lines.
Yeah.
When I start getting funky, when I'm kind of manipulating a little bit, I'm approaching the line. Now, with that said, manipulation and convincing, the main difference between them is spelling. So you're making people do things that they needed you to convince them to do, which kind of is making them do things that they didn't want to initially or would otherwise. And so as a result, being clear on that, being clear on your internal barometer, and being clear on the purpose of the manipulation, convincing, social engineering, whatever, the sales pitch, whatever makes you feel better about yourself, you call it whatever you want. But that, being clear on those things and having people around you who will tell you, hey, listen, that's on the line for me, is the most important part. And then being clear in the practice of where the lines are, where there are these hard stop, do not pass go, do not collect $200 lines, is how you keep it straight. Now, with that said, it will be a process because Peter Parker, Great power, great responsibility. The part that Uncle Ben left out was great difficulty. The stronger you get, the harder it is to be strong well.
Well,
At least in my opinion. This is my experience.
the better and more practice you become at something, the more it becomes who you are.
Absolutely.
And turning it off becomes the effort.
And that is what I think is the hazard, and that's why high levels of control and high levels of clarity are necessary for instructors especially. Because if you think about it, instruction is convincing, is manipulation.
100%.
I want you to do something, because any class worth its salt is difficult, right? Like Paul is the first boot and rally class I've been to in my entire life. Thank you,
I
Paul.
didn't want to put that on film. I don't know if you're going to own up to that or not.
It doesn't make a difference to me. It was a hard class and I'm out of shape. So Paul is standing up in front telling a bunch of people who are already tired and sweaty, who are already sick of working with the big guy or the person who maybe skipped the shower last night or whatever.
Yeah, don't ever do that.
Please
Don't be that person.
Just don't be that person. But telling them to do it again.
Yeah.
Telling them to do it again. Telling them, yeah, you're tired. Oh, this is uncomfortable. Noted. Do more. And so as a result, as an instructor, he has a high level of responsibility, and it requires him being very practiced and very clear about what he's doing and why, and being able to articulate it, and very responsible to his students. What we see too often in self-defense and martial arts is kind of that, strip mall, king of a tiny fiefdom mentality, which is what happens when you take the stuff off the leash.
Yeah.
And you don't have people around you who are like, what? What are you doing? No, you can't do that. And you also don't end up with students who are as strong, obviously, because if they can't check you, at least to some reasonable degree over some realistic concern, what have you actually introduced? And if they don't have that power, and if they don't have the control to make sure it's about something important, and if you don't have the control to be concerned about it, and not you specifically, obviously, I just mean instructors in general, all you end up creating is a cult with interesting clothes.
Funny pajamas.
Funny, but I wasn't gonna say. I had funny pajamas in my head, but I was like, interesting.
No, I tell the kids, if you do a really good job, then you get to earn your funny pajamas.
And so for me to bring it back around to the answer to your question, the way that I keep it on the rails is I keep people around me who will tell me when my stuff stinks. I invite opportunities to be told by trusted people that my stuff stinks. Mm-hmm. And I keep my lines as clear as I can possibly make them, while making sure that anybody that I support, I have the internal intention of making them strong enough to challenge me if I get out of pocket.
I think you and I were vetted as being part of a group based upon one metric, which is these people have called me on my bullshit in a world where not a lot of the people are willing to. And
I think that is a valuable, rare thing. And I don't mean that
especially somebody who was like lauded in a certain community.
If he's that guy, it's harder to do it. And then also, he's a forceful individual and he's very well researched and all this other stuff. But the thing to me that makes it important is when we introduce that to students, that paradigm makes it easier for them when the bad guy is your boss. Or the older player on your team, to say I'm not obligated by this. So they have that same power, that same responsibility, and the same necessary discipline that will A, keep them from becoming a bad guy, hopefully, and then B, also help them recognize bad guy dynamics and recognize in some cases their responsibility to stop this, even if it's just stopping it for them. Even if it's just saying, you know what, no, you don't get to do that anymore.
Right. I like these talks.
Yeah, me too.
For those who haven't clocked it on this channel, Malcolm and I did a lot of work with the Chiron group, and one of the things we would do is we would have these Sunday chats, fireside chats. There was no fire. It was just a fun name.
No, there was the first time. The first time we had like a fire background.
Like Zoom during COVID times.
Yeah.
And what we do is we do a 15-minute live. You can go look this up on the Chiron Facebook page, guys, or YouTube channel. 10 to 15 minutes live chats. Before we would bring the people in our cohort in and have these larger conversations. And just great noodling and conversation. And it wasn't teacher-student. It was peer group, all interested parties having these chats. And I remember, I'm a person who wakes up very early, so sometimes these things would go. And the most interesting ones, I'm like stifling a yawn once in a while. Occasionally there was like an adult beverage if we were sitting in our respective kitchens or living rooms, whatever we were. Yeah. And then a lot of times people would it would have an end time. And then me, Malcolm, and Rory for an hour.
Yeah.
And I would just kind of sit there and listen to you two talk at and with each other. And like sprinkle little logs of the flame just to like let it go. Really, really good chats. There's a reason I've been excited about getting your butt out here to like have some more of this. I think we have to, hopefully we'll do more of these.
Yeah, it would be great. And I think these are the important conversations. And this is the stuff.
The physical's fun.
The physical matters.
Yes.
Years ago, you remember we did one of the few videos you convinced me to do solo. We did the car video. So for me, self-protection is a car, right? You've got a steering wheel, you've got brakes, and you've got an airbag. The physical stuff is the airbag. So when you are in an accident and you have fractions of seconds before you hit that wall, the airbag is extremely important to keeping you from dying.
Yep.
And I would like to not have my nose broken by an airbag. So generally, I try to use the brakes, which may be my de-escalation ability or my ability to use social engineering to get my desired outcome, which is safety. Or the steering wheel, my awareness and recognition of the dynamic that exists there and saying, I'm one of those people who walk into a martial arts school, walk into a restaurant, walk into any sort of interaction, look around, smell the air, and if it smells funky, have a great day. It's been a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, willingness to step out.
Absolutely. And so for everybody here, when it comes to the code switching, have that I don't care what you're talking about, I'm leaving code.
Right.
It's very useful.
I like this stuff.
Yeah, me too.
I like this stuff a lot. By the way,
as you can tell by the 45 minutes.
But yeah, we were going to do for 20. We're at 45 minutes. And the way we set this up was, all right, I came up with 5 topics. You came up with 4 topics. So there's 8 more that we haven't even come close to touching yet. So there'll be more of these videos, I think.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely. Cool. Well, for those who are on the Instagram world, because I think that's your main thing you use, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At NMNT_training on Instagram.
Not me, not today.
Not
NMNT.
me, not today. Go check it out or don't, whatever works for you.
Malcolm's very humble. Real quick, really great stuff you're going to get from a perspective of somebody who lived it and was there. And one of the things I love you do is notes from the field.
Yeah.
Go. I don't want to blow the end line, guys, but go check it out. Some really, really good stuff. Once in a while, I will drag his ass onto video camera with you guys so we can actually walk it out. Because Malcolm likes putting up a picture of not himself and then doing a lot of writing because he's clearly a highly intelligent, well thought out person about this stuff. And my biggest obligation to you is you have a lot of good material. Yeah. I know you don't love being on camera, so I appreciate you doing this, but you have knowledge that will make other people better.
No, that's true.
You know what I mean?
And I think what matters for me is getting that knowledge in a way that is sustainable while avoiding a lot of those things that, you asked about okay, how do you keep yourself on the rails when it comes to not using this power for evil? One of the ways I do that is by trying to kind of distance from.
I know.
Because it catches better people than I.
Did I tell you why we're doing this? We're doing this exercise?
Why?
Because I hate branding. I hate marketing. I hate all this shit. I was harangued by a friend that we have to do more branding, which is, in case for those, I don't think I've explained this, but I hate this stuff. I've hidden behind the logo of our martial arts school very effectively for 16 years on purpose.
It's good.
A marketing professional friend told me I had to do more of it, so I'm trying in good faith to listen to my friends who know more than I do.
Yeah.
And here was how I made it okay. I don't believe I have stacks and stacks and stacks of books. I love reading. Unfortunately, I see the next generation is absorbing video and podcasts.
And 8-segment slivers.
Or
8 second 8 second
8 to 48 second groupings, yes. So for me, in many ways, I think maybe this podcast or these efforts on YouTube may be my version of a book.
Yeah.
And I think of it as creating a library of what I hope is useful information for people.
Absolutely.
And just putting out to the public for, guys, as we always say, the algorithm likes if you like and share and comment and all that kind of fun stuff. If you have really good questions, or hell, if you have crappy questions, we don't care. Pose them in the comments, and I will try to drag Malcom back here, and we'll try and do some more of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think there's value in creating this library. Because I work with the students that are on the Met, and we're very lucky. We have awesome people and good groups and good classes, and there's only so many people that are here, and this does allow us the opportunity to put good information out to more people. So this is literally me selling Malcom on doing
Right. No, and Paul's right. And if nothing else, if you don't take anything else away from this, just recognizing the degree to which a lot of the dynamics that maybe don't help you feel safer or be safer are more in your control than you may think.
I like it. On that really well stated note, thank you very much, Malcom.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for watching, subscribing, and liking, and all that other kind of fun YouTube stuff.
See y'all later.
Later, guys.